It's tomato season, and today I'm going to show you how to make the most delicious roasted tomato soup. It's vegan and it's a creamy roasted tomato soup with a garlic pesto drizzle on the top. It's amazing, especially when you use tomatoes in season like right now. These are my favorite Cherokee tomatoes, and I have some orange yellow tomatoes that I got at the farmer's market, and we're gonna roast them up in a pan with garlic and basil, and it's delicious. I love roasted tomatoes anyway, and tomatoes by themselves anyway, but this combo you're gonna love. And I know for some people they say soup, but it's summertime. But you guys, this is so good. You could eat this as a gazpacho cold, but you want to roast it and blend it and make it and then eat it any way you like. It's so good. Okay, so to roast our tomatoes, we're gonna just keep them in chunks. Okay, now it's time for the onions. You just want big chunks. All this is going to get blended up after. And then we're going to just stick some garlic. We're also going to put garlic in the pesto. Normally I buy the whole cloves, you know, the whole head of garlic, and I just cut it in half and I just stick the whole thing in and roast it. And then before I blend it, I squeeze it out, but I didn't have enough. So I'm just going to put like 4 cloves in each. And then we're going to just take some basil. I like the leaves just left whole. Okay, and then I'm going to do a little drizzle of olive oil. Salt and pepper to taste. If you don't want any, no problems. That should do it. And then I like always to add some herbs from the garden. So I'm gonna take the thyme. The oregano looks beautiful to cook them like that, so I think I am gonna leave them whole. How beautiful. And I might even give it a stir up. I can give it with my hands, but I should have done that before I laid it on, but actually you don't have to give it a stir up because all the juices from the tomatoes will just be absolutely delicious. Okay, now we're gonna pop this in the oven. I've got it at 400 right now. It's all preheated. I'm gonna pop them in for about 30 minutes until it's all roasted up. Meanwhile, we're gonna make the pesto, so be right back. Okay, so while the tomatoes are roasting, it's time to make our pesto. You don't have to do this. This is only to drizzle on the top. The soup is delicious just by itself, but this is really beautiful on top and really helps to give that amazing fresh basil flavor. And the only other thing that I do is I make a little cashew milk because I add it to make it a little bit creamy. And if you don't want to make your own cashew milk, then you can use cashew milk that you buy from the store or soy milk, but I would recommend soy or maybe oat because it's a little bit creamier in texture. You could even use the soy creamer or oat creamer that you buy at the store and just put a little drizzle in your blender until you see it lighten up. So I'm going to make this amount, but I don't know that I'm going to use that amount. But let's get started with the basil pesto. Okay, so we're going to put in some pine nuts. And now I'm going to do a squeeze of a lemon. Depends how juicy they are. Half might be enough. I'm going to start with half and see how it goes. And then garlic. And now a lot of pesto. But I'm going to get this started and then add more. Okay, now I'm going to add more. Some olive oil, salt and pepper to taste. Actually, not much pepper. Mostly it's just salt. Here we go. Now we're talking. Yes, excellent. Wow, and it smells amazing. So now I'm going to clean out the blender really quickly so we can make our cashew milk. So all I'm going to do is add my cashews and my water. It's about equal amounts. You want about a 1-to-1 ratio. So I'm just going to show you so you can see the consistency when it's 1-to-1. Do you see how thick that is? See that? That's nice. And we're not going to use all of that, but I'll use it in my dandelion tea and all my medicinal teas. I love cashew cream, so it's fantastic. But this texture is what you want. So then when we drizzle it in the soup, it's going to make it a little bit lighter and give it that creamy roasted tomato flavor. Okay, so soon we're going to get those tomatoes out and get blending the soup. So let's go get those roasted tomatoes out of the oven. Wow, look at this. Okay, so now we're going to carefully put this in our blender and blend it and then plate it up. Okay. And since I had the garlic clove already peeled, usually when I make it, I keep it whole and I have to take those out. I don't blend them inside the whole clove, but these are all free from that, so they're ready to go in. So in addition to the fresh herbs that I put in there, I'm also going to add some dried herbs. So I'm going to add some basil, and then we're going to add more once I blend it and taste it. So basil, oregano, which we put in fresh, and thyme. So all the herbs that we put in fresh, we're also doing dried. Wow, that looks so good, doesn't it? I'm going to add some of the cashew cream. See how the color lightened from the cashew milk? Now we got to give that a taste and determine if we need more spices. Wow, that is good. Needs a little something more though. Okay, for sure I didn't put hardly any salt in there, so I'm going to do a little salt and definitely some more pepper and definitely more oregano. Actually, I would say easily you could add a tablespoon of each of these total. I only added a little when we started, but now I can see I can add more of everything. More flavor, more healthy benefits. Herbs are medicine. Okay, here we go. Wow, that's really good. And I don't really need any more cashew milk. For me, that's just the slightest, 3 spoons just to make it a little bit creamy. That's really good. But see, with fresh herbs, you still need to add a whole tablespoon of each of the herbs dried afterwards. That's really critical because that's totally different. And although I love the fresh herbs, these are so concentrated and they're delicious. So let's pour this in here. And let's blend up the next batch. Okay, I'm going to put the 3 spoons of cashew milk. I'm going to do salt. And now we know, about a tablespoon. My thyme and basil. So that was about 8 cups. So it depends how big a serving. I would say it's 4 2-cup servings. But that looks fantastic. It's smelling so good. And now we're going to plate it up and do the taste test. I'll be right back. Okay, so let's serve it up. I'm just going to use my ladle, trying to get a nice clean. That looks good. And now I put the basil pesto sauce in here and I added a little water, and I'm hoping that that way I can get a really nice drizzle. The other way you can do it is you just swirl it around. Okay, now for the official test, because I have the basil pesto drizzled in, little fresh sprig of basil on the top. Wow, that is so good. I love so much the texture, because even though you blend it, it's smooth. It's, I don't know what the word is, but it's not super smooth. Wow, amazing, approved. And please don't forget to subscribe. Thanks. Man, that's good. One more bite.